Thanks for inviting me along tonight. When I was planning what to say tonight, I was trying to come up with a memory to start off with and talk about from Karama, and I couldn't think of anything because I had so many fond memories from my time at Karama. And even tonight I was still trying to figure out what I was going to say to start off tonight. And as I listened to all you guys talk about what you've learnt, it just brought back so many memories. But the thing that I realised when I first walked in the room was that my fondest memories are in the room because my preschool teacher was Miss Winkler. So she's still at Karama now. It's so awesome to see that after all these years, I'm now 32, and as a 4-year-old I was at Karama in preschool, and there she is, and she doesn't, I don't think you got any grey hair there, eh? She's done well. The other thing too, so now I'm teaching and I'm doing some work at Leanya with Mr. Slitter's wife, the awesome Mrs. Slitters, and this morning we're in the assembly for the awards presentation, and I was watching these kids get awards, and there was people getting up and presenting, and they were right down to transition kids, and I was just amazed at how well these kids could talk. Is there some, Georgie, do you understand? Georgie, do you want to stand up for us? So this is the size of some of the kids that were talking to a group of probably 650 people, and I thought it was just so good to see that there's kids out there these days, and you guys are just like that, getting up tonight and talking, that just have the confidence and the ability to be able to talk in front of so many people. So it's great to see. But if you didn't catch my name at the start, my name's Jacob Andre, and if you didn't catch the last name Andre, my mum is Karen, who works in the front office, and my auntie is her sister, Mrs. Wanganeen, who sits behind her. And when I was thinking about my fondest memories, they're really around friends. And my best mate is Anthony McCourt, which is Miss McCourt's son, and another guy, Robert. And you were saying you want to be friends with your mates forever, and I'm still best mates with those two blokes and other people. Karama is a really unique school, unique in Darwin, unique in the Northern Territory, unique in Australia, but even unique in the world, because there's nowhere else in the world, I don't think, that's got a connection like Karama's got. So now being 32 years old and coming back and talking at this is such a privilege for me, and I feel so proud to be able to come back. And I could be one of any people sitting in here tonight. Like, I look at the Raymonds over here who went to Menunda, I think, and then to Sanderson, the Ponters, the Thomases over there, and there's plenty more that I can see around the room, who are people who have stayed connected with the school. And I don't reckon there's too many primary schools that have got that sort of connection, where there's so many families that their kids have been through, they're now adults, they're having their own kids, and their kids are now going through, and they're still connected with the school. So Karama is very, very unique, and you're very, very lucky to have set your foundation at Karama. I just want to quickly say a couple of thank yous. I want to say thank you to Mr. Morgan for inviting me along tonight, your principal, and he's done an awesome job, so let's give him a round of applause. Miss Bean, the assistant principal, works tirelessly. Well done, Miss Bean, on the year. Of course, Mr. Slitters, you're an awesome teacher. He puts in all the hard work, minute after minute, and it's not just the time that you see him at school, but also outside of that. Also the other teachers and support staff and other staff that are at Karama, that some have been there for obviously many, many years, and some who have been there just for the 1 year, but they're just as important regardless of how long they're there for. I want to thank the parents for all the work that you've done in getting your kids to where they are now. And like Mr. Morgan said, you guys are going into jobs you're going to be finishing high school in about 5-6 years time, and going into jobs that don't even exist yet. And that's pretty scary, but it's also super exciting, because I would love to sit back. The world is just developing so fast that you can, what's it going to look like in 5 years time? And so it's really hard to teach that, but I think as long as you inspire kids to learn, and as long as you guys want to continue to learn forever, then it can only end up in well. So, and the last one is I want to thank you guys as students. So thanks for having me along tonight, and thanks for putting in a really awesome year. So my background, I went to Karama for all of primary school. So from preschool right through to year 7, it used to be year 7 then, and then went on to Sanderson. I spent 4 years at Sanderson from year 8 to year 11, and then went to Casuarina for year 12. So it's really good to hear so many of you guys say you're going from Karama to Sanderson and then to Casuarina. But let's just get a show of hands. Who's going to Sanderson next year? Dripstone? O'Loughlin? Anywhere else? Cool. So that's, and some of you are going to boarding school as well. So that's really cool to see that so many are going on to Sanderson. So when I left Karama and went to Sanderson, went to Casuarina, I then went to uni. I didn't know what I wanted to do at school. When I was in primary school, I wanted to be a super sports star. I wanted to play cricket for Australia. I wanted to play ice hockey over in America, and then I wanted to be an actor, and then I wanted to play AFL, and I wanted to do all these things. And but I never really was too sure, and I went through high school without really knowing. I went right through up until I finished year 12, and it wasn't until I was sitting there on the back balcony of Mum's house, Mum and Dad's house, and Mum saw an ad in the paper for being a PE teacher, and she said, "What about being a teacher, Jacob?" And I thought, "Oh yeah, why not?" And went on and applied, and luckily got into university to do teaching. I did super struggle though, because I hadn't prepared for it. And I'm not saying you need to know now what you're going to do, but I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't realise that in a sports science degree you would need to do physics, maths, chemistry, biology, and those sorts of subjects. So when I was at Sanderson, I had an awesome time, but I didn't choose those science and maths subjects after year 10. So the top maths I did was real basic maths. It was really just adding up a shopping receipt, and then expected that I could go on to university level biology, chemistry and physics. And I really struggled. I passed 3 classes out of 8 in that first year, and thought university was just like a American show, TV show. And so I went back the next year and tried to make amends and do better, but I really struggled still because I didn't have that foundation in those subjects. But I pushed through, passed a few more of those classes, got myself through that first year, and then decided to take a year off. And in that year, it was the best thing I could have done. I worked at athletics, travelled around the territory, and I realised that teaching sports and stuff was something that I really wanted to do. So I went back to uni and I smashed it out. I worked so super hard. I was not smart. I wouldn't consider myself smart, and I certainly really struggled, but it all came down to the amount of time and effort I wanted to put into it, and that was the only reason I ended up getting through that. And I still remember my first subject, which was transformative education, that I got a HD in, and it was one of the most satisfying moments in my life to get that, because it was so depressing and upsetting to go through those first couple of years and really struggle and fail, and just failure, and to come back, and I don't know why I managed to. I'm pretty sure family is a massive part of it, and the support that I had. But when I passed that university degree and I got to start teaching, it was really rewarding. And I decided that the school I wanted to go to, I was a high school teacher, was Sanderson. I had the choice of Darwin High or Sanderson High. Sanderson was a high school at the time, and I chose Sanderson. I taught there for 7 years, and that's where I taught some of the people that are in this room now. And then while I was there, I wanted to do a little bit extra. So I went back to uni and did a psychology grad dip, which is sort of like a little bit more study around psychology, which I was really interested in. And with that understanding of the first time I was at uni, I knew how much work needs to go into it. And it was all about just putting in time and effort. And that was the only reason that I was successful after that. It wasn't because I was smart, because I certainly wasn't. It was just because I was willing to put in the time, and I was willing to prioritise what I wanted, which for me was to finish off that course over other things. And really at the end of the day, it didn't feel like I was prioritising. It didn't feel like I was giving anything up, because I was doing something that I really enjoyed. And at the end of that, I got to finish that psychology course, went on and taught psychology at Casuarina, and now doing some part-time stuff at Leanya. But I've got now 2 businesses, and I feel really happy with where my life is right now. So what I want to pass on to you is that life and success is all about just putting in effort. And so my nuggets of success, which I want to leave you with, is number one, make good friends. Because like I said, two of my closest mates are still my closest mates. And although we drifted apart a little bit during high school, one went off into one sort of different group and one went off to a different high school, we still remained in contact and we still came back and we're really close now with being groomsmen in each other's weddings. The second one is to be yourself, because everyone else is taken. I've heard that before and I love it. So there's no point trying to be somebody else when yourself is there, open and ready to be. So be yourself, know exactly what your strengths are. So take a think about what people say to you they like about you, and that's generally what your strengths are, and then use them. And the last one is keep moving forward. So keep trying, because if I didn't keep trying, I probably wouldn't have ended up finishing uni the first time and I don't know where I'd be. But keep trying no matter what you're doing, and just put one foot in front of the other. Success is about doing a small thing every single day. It's not about doing a big chunk of stuff and then not doing anything for a couple of months. It's about doing little things every single day, which then accumulate and become something massive. So best of luck with the future. Make sure that you get to know the other students from the other schools at Sanderson. It's one of the most exciting times of your life going on to high school. Sanderson is a great school. It'll be great fun for you. Casuarina is also awesome. So best of luck and thanks for having me.